Everything in life requires growth. Fights and science are not exceptions. In fact, they are the examples I rely on constantly in this channel. What you see in the greatest fighters is the ability to adapt. If A doesn't work, then try B. If B doesn't work, then try C. In order to try one solution and move on to another, you have to be willing to acknowledge that you were wrong in the first place. That's a very, very central theme to this channel. There's at least 3 videos where I said I was wrong, which was the central idea of the video and in the title. 2 of them were related to Devin Haney, who we'll talk more about in the future. But what applies to fights can also apply to science and vice versa. Failure is considered a universal cornerstone to increasing the probability of success. Everyone agrees on this. But what you'll notice is, despite the fact everyone agrees on those ideas, that doesn't necessarily mean that they take action to live out those ideas. You want to know how to get better at fighting, or how one fighter seems so much smarter than the others? It requires resilience through failure. Floyd Mayweather lost in the Olympics. He never wanted to lose again and worked as hard as he could to avoid it. Roy Jones lost. He made sure nobody would ever rob him again. Volkanovski got knocked out early in his career, went on to be one of the most dominant champions in UFC history. GSP got knocked out, went on to be one of the most dominant champions in UFC history. Sean Strickland gets knocked out a few fights later. He takes the belt from one of the best champions in history. I mean, the list could go on in any sport, in any combat sport you could think of, and really a lot of sports in general. They always say minor setbacks for major comebacks, but that depends on how you deal with a setback. These great fighters, they take L's just like everyone else. They're not unblemished. No fighter is perfect. But what makes a great fighter different is once they lose, they learn everything from that loss in order to avoid having another one. But you have to be humble enough to admit fault, because once you acknowledge the problem, then you can begin to solve it. Or once you admit you're wrong, then you can get on the journey to finding out what it means to be right. If you really want to see the nature of a person, whether this is somebody you watch on YouTube or somebody you know personally, it takes them being wrong or them losing or them failing for a lot to be revealed about their character. Hopefully one of the takeaways you have from this channel is that it's all right to be wrong so long as you take the time to learn from it. And if you gloat in victory, keep the same energy in defeat. If I'm wrong about something and I made all the videos before saying how I was going to be right, I make sure I make a video detailing how and why I was wrong. That's how the science improves. That's what it means to be a great fighter. One thing I've been wrong about is consistency, which is something I'm going to work on improving, uploading more often and covering a bigger variety of things, and just being on a more consistent schedule to keep spreading the fights and science and keep growing the community. Be patient with me. I will give you more fights and science. I promise. Immortality Serum out.